Lately, my feeds are full of women in floral dresses, spinning around spotless kitchens, baking sourdough with angelic lighting. What a coincidence that the lighting is always angelic, and telling the rest of us that empowerment is basically stepping backwards a few decades. You know the trend, the Tradwife aesthetic. The serene stay-at-home wife whose husband provides while she manages the home with a smile that never twitches. She's not stressed, she's not tired, and she's definitely not reloading the dishwasher because someone in her house doesn't understand spatial reasoning. No, she's at peace. And apparently, if the rest of us were just a little bit more traditional, we would be at peace too. And if I'm being honest, these videos hit home for me too. I love celebrating motherhood. I love the softness that comes with certain rituals. I love homemaking when it nourishes your nervous system instead of draining it. I love slowness. I love intention. But I also hear from many of my women clients, listeners, and friends who feel squeezed between two equally exhausting narratives. You should work and prove yourself, and you should stay at home and prove yourself. Both of them come with judgment. Both come with shame. Both come with this quiet undertone of, you are not doing enough. You are not enough. And lately, more and more women are quietly asking, is this the answer? To go back? To step into some version of the 1950s? Would that make motherhood feel easier? Would it make my marriage feel safer? So today, we're pulling back the curtain. We're celebrating motherhood, softness, strength, identity, depth, and we're debunking the Tradwife myth. Not to judge mothers who stay at home, not at all. Not to put mothers who work on the pedestal either. But to finally talk about context, history, economics, psychology, partnership, and reality. Because motherhood deserves more respect than nostalgia bait. Hi there! If this is your first time here, welcome to the Parenthood and Relationship Podcast. I'm your host, Markella Kaplani, a psychologist, a parenthood and relationship coach, and a parent myself. Together, we explore the transformative journey of parenthood and its profound impact on our relationship with ourselves, our partners, and our children, so that we can be present and show up as we envision without having to do more. Let's get into today's episode. So let's start with clarity. This Tradwife figure that people are romanticizing online actually represents a very narrow slice of the 1950s. A white, middle-class, male breadwinner and female homemaker household. The irony is that this model wasn't even mainstream in the 1950s. Only 26% of households had a single income. Working class women worked. Black women worked. Immigrant women worked. Women in rural areas worked. The Tradwife model isn't traditional, actually. It's a brand. And the word traditional gets thrown around as if it carries some moral superiority. But it's curated nostalgia, a highlight reel of an era that ignored entire groups of people, left women financially dependent, and pretended that marital dissatisfaction, domestic violence, and female isolation didn't exist just because they were rarely publicly acknowledged. So why does this appeal today? Because the modern landscape is exhausting. Childcare is unaffordable. Workplaces are inflexible. Wages stagnate. Mothers are expected to perform at work as if they don't have children and to perform at home as if they don't have jobs. And slow living on Instagram offers a fantasy escape. Step out of the workforce. Focus on nurturing. Be protected. Be cherished. Simplify. Honestly, these desires are valid. Wanting slowness is human. Wanting help is human. Wanting to stop doing 3 things at once is so very human. But the Tradwife narrative sells a solution that's built on aesthetic rather than reality. It sells submission as serenity. It romanticizes a simpler past that wasn't actually simpler, especially for women. And it ignores the one thing that has always helped mothers thrive: choice, real choice, not algorithm shared choice, not guilt shaped choice, but choice that includes autonomy, security, partnership, shared responsibility, and respect. Okay, so let's bring this into the real world for a moment. I want to talk about patterns that I hear week after week after week in my sessions. So for one, there is the "I thought peace required sacrifice" story. I've had so many conversations with women who stepped back from work thinking this will finally take the pressure off. And in many ways, it does. There is a relief in not having to multitask every second, in letting go of one very heavy role. But we cannot ignore the hidden pressures that eventually start showing up. Becoming the default parent, losing financial independence, feeling guilty for being overwhelmed because, well, this is supposed to be easy, that's all I do. And then again, there's also fearing what would happen if their partner lost their job or got sick or left. The peace was real, but so was the vulnerability. And then there's another pattern. The "I love being home, but this doesn't define me" story. Many mothers genuinely love being stay-at-home moms. It nourishes them, it fills them with purpose. But they reject the Tradwife label because it reduces their humanity to domestic labor. They rightfully want to be seen as whole people, thinking, evolving, multidimensional, not as a nostalgic trope. And then again, there's the pattern of "you can never win." Working mothers tell me about the comments they receive. "Who's raising your kids?" And these are never directed at fathers, ever. Meanwhile, stay-at-home mothers get hit with "don't you have dreams?" Or "what do you do all day? Don't you get bored?" The message is clear. Motherhood has become a performance, not a relationship. And you can never win. And then there's the mental load reality, the part of motherhood that we still don't talk about enough. Research from the University of Bath shows that mothers carry the majority of the invisible planning, the anticipating, the organizing, and the replenishing. It's not jobs. It's thinking, tracking, managing, holding the whole constellation of the family needs in your mind. When Tradwife content pretends that this is effortless, it disconnects women from reality and from each other. It suggests that the problem is your mindset, your inability to handle this, and it discredits the sheer magnitude of what it is that you're holding. These patterns highlight one simple truth. Motherhood becomes painful when choice disappears and pressure takes over. In listening to all this, you might be wondering, why now? Why is the Tradwife trend rising at this point in time? What is it really about? Well, it's not about flour and it's not about dresses. It's not about wanting to be cherished. What it really is about is uncertainty. As women, we are navigating so much in our times. The precarity in the workplace that undervalues parents, the skyrocketing costs of childcare, the expectation to do it all, the emotional labor and the mental load that's invisible, a culture that glorifies consumption as rest. Let's face it, we're at a time where we're craving for structure, for roles, clarity. If you strip everything else away, the Tradwife aesthetic offers 2 things: certainty and simplicity. even if neither is actually real. And so here is where this all becomes quite risky, because financial dependence is not simplicity, and it's definitely not safety or protection. It exposes mothers to the financial shock of divorce, sudden loss of household income, power imbalances in decision-making, decreased employability, and over time, this could lead to vulnerability to controlling behavior or abuse. It could also lead to disconnection from one's identity beyond caregiving. And this hurts fathers too. Traditional roles make men the sole providers, isolating them emotionally and tying their worth to productivity. Many men thrive when caregiving is part of their identity. They discover tenderness and grounding when they are involved from the beginning. And if you want to learn more about this, go to the previous episode, episode 81, where we talk about the hormonal changes that happen when a man becomes a father. Because testosterone drops in order to help men become more nurturing. And so when we go against that, we're going against nature. And when we do that, we are creating all sorts of problems. We are denying ourselves the very thing that would make us feel good. Traditional roles rob men of this. So when we zoom out, the Tradwife trend is not a solution. It's actually a symptom of inadequate social support, a broken childcare system, and a culture that expects mothers to absorb everything. Now, how do we honor motherhood without falling into old traps? I want to take this opportunity to offer you grounded, non-performative steps, not motherhood hacks and not positive mindset shifts, actual change. For one, craft traditions that support you, not pressure you. If you love slow Sundays, do that. If you love gardens, plant them. If you love baking, bake. But don't let it become a metric of your worth. Traditions are meant to anchor you, not to evaluate you. Secondly, make the mental load visible. Sit with your partner and map out every invisible task, not to guilt trip anyone, but to reveal the gap. This conversation alone can shift dynamics. When your partner sees the scope, something softens, understanding grows, accountability changes. Thirdly, try the fair play method. This is genuinely one of the most transformative systems that couples can use. Think of your household as a deck of cards. Each card is a task. Whoever holds the card handles it fully. The conception of it, the planning, the execution, all of it. There's no micromanaging and no weaponized incompetence, no invisible labor trailing behind you. And come to talk about it, I have a wonderful colleague and expert in the fair play method. And just a couple of days ago, I made sure to call her up and invite her on my podcast. So if you aren't following, if you haven't subscribed, make sure that you do, because soon enough, probably in the next month or so, there will be a guest episode that includes Valerie Ricoeur, who is an expert in helping mothers handle the load and helping couples work together using the fair play system. You won't want to miss it. Fourthly, you want to protect your financial autonomy, even if you choose to stay home. You need to have access to accounts, transparency, a say in financial decision-making. You also want to have a plan for emergencies, maybe a small income stream to keep a foot in the professional door. More doesn't buy happiness, but it does buy options, and options protect your nervous system. Another thing you want to do is to engage fathers fully, not as helpers, but as co-parents. Give your partner full ownership of something. Let it be bedtime, lunches, laundry, meal planning. When fathers become competent caregivers, family connection deepens and mutual respect increases. You also want to curate your community. If an online account makes you feel like you're failing, unfollow. If a friendship feels like competition, step back. Surround yourself with voices that honor complexity, not aesthetics. And beyond this, I would hope that you start to advocate for change beyond your home. Because the solution to burned out mothers is not superior homemaking. It's affordable childcare, paid parental leave, flexible work, and fair wages. When you advocate for fairness, you're honoring your motherhood, not betraying it. Furthermore, you want to stay connected to grounding support. One of the simplest ways that you can do that, it's through the Sunday Reconnect. Every week I send one insight, one tool, and one 3-minute reset that you can do while your coffee cools. The point is to keep you emotionally connected and practically resourced. If you want support that meets you where you are, you can simply go onto my website at markelakaplani.com/newsletter and sign up. So why in the world does this conversation matter? Well, I felt it was important to discuss this because the Tradwife aesthetic is not just harmless nostalgia. It shapes real decisions in real families. Decisions that affect us financially, emotionally. They affect the equality in the partnership, our identity, and our children's development. Motherhood is not a brand. It's not a role that we have to perform for social validation. It is a relationship. It is a reconfiguration of our identity that deserves care, structure, and fairness, not fantasy. If you want support starting these conversations at home, you will find guides, scripts, and tools at markelakaplani.com/resources. And if you're a dad or a mom who wants her partner to show up a little bit differently, my Reconnection Roadmap is a mini guide that helps you do exactly that. It's simple, it's direct, and it takes the pressure off of both of you. It is designed specifically for men who want to reconnect with their wives, who want to understand what they are going through as mothers, and want a simple, direct way that takes the pressure off in order to reconnect. Before we wrap up, I invite you to take a breath. Place a hand on your chest if it feels comfortable, and just check in. What part of the Tradwife narrative pulls you? Is it the promise of rest? Is it being cherished? Is it the promise of clarity? Or is it simplicity? Often, the parts that tug at us tell us something real, something important, something that is unmet. And then, having recognized this unmet need, consider what small, honest, and doable tradition is it that you could bring into your life that would honor motherhood without shrinking you? It could be a Sunday pancake, a family walk, a weekly candlelit bath after the kids fall asleep. Something that feeds you, not something that confines you. And finally, consider this. Could you bring the mental load conversation to the table this week? One small shift, one fair play card that you could hand over. These conversations are uncomfortable. They are. But they're also liberating. They loosen resentment. They deepen respect. They strengthen the relationship between partners and create safety for the children growing up in the home. Thank you for being here with me today, for choosing nuance in a world that keeps selling aesthetics, for valuing substance over performance, for walking this parenting journey with me. Not perfectly, but consciously. If you want to stay anchored between episodes, make sure that you sign up for the Sunday Reconnect at markelakaplani.com/newsletter. It will be my honor to have you join my community. And remember, motherhood is worthy of celebration, but never at the cost of our autonomy. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.